Good morning, dear friend. This is Sunday morning, February 8th. Another quiet turning of the week. Another day that has arrived gently without noise or demand. Before anything else asks for your attention, before the world begins to move you along, just notice that you are here. You woke up. You opened your eyes. You are breathing. Let that be enough for this moment. Slow down with me. There is no rush here. Let your shoulders drop. Unclench your jaw. If your hands are tight, let them soften. Take a slow breath in through your nose and let it fill your chest. Then release it gently without forcing it out. Again, inhale, exhale. Nothing to prove, nothing to fix. Just this breath and then the next. This morning does not need to be loud to be meaningful. It does not need energy or enthusiasm to be sacred. It only needs your presence, even if you woke up tired, even if your body feels heavy or your mind already feels full, even if you're carrying something unnamed that sat with you through the night. You don't need to push that away. You don't need to explain it. Just let yourself be here as you are. Notice the simple fact that you are awake on this Sunday morning, February 8th, not as a routine, not as something automatic, but as something real. You are here again. Your chest is rising and falling. Your heart is still beating, quietly doing its work without asking anything from you. That alone tells a story that says your life has not paused, that you are still part of what is unfolding, that this moment has been given, not assumed. If your thoughts are already racing ahead to what needs to be done later today, gently call them back. They can wait. If your mind is drifting toward worries, regrets, or unfinished conversations from the week behind you, let them rest for now. There will be time to remember. There will be space to reflect. For this moment, just sit in the stillness of being alive. Breathe in slowly, as if you're making room inside yourself. Breathe out as if you're letting go of the pressure to arrive anywhere else. Let the room you're in feel a little quieter. Let the air around you feel softer. There is no demand placed on you right now. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you need to be for this moment. Perhaps you woke up feeling rested, or perhaps you didn't. Perhaps your body feels strong today, or perhaps it feels sore, stiff, or worn. Whatever you noticed when you first opened your eyes this morning, let it be acknowledged without judgment. You don't need to label it as good or bad. You don't need to correct it. Simply notice it and let it be part of this moment. This Sunday morning is not just another square on the calendar. It is a pause, a gentle opening, a quiet space between what has been and what is about to begin again. You don't have to fill this space with words or effort. You don't have to make it productive. It already carries meaning simply because you are here within it. If the week behind you was heavy, let yourself rest from carrying it for just a few breaths. If the week ahead feels uncertain, you don't need to solve it right now. This moment is not asking for answers. It is offering rest. It is offering awareness. It is offering a chance to arrive fully without rushing past yourself. Notice how your breath continues without instruction. Notice how your body knows how to stay alive even when you feel unsure. There is something steady holding you in this moment, something quiet and patient that did not begin when you woke up and will not leave when this morning passes. Stay here a little longer. Let your breathing find a natural rhythm. Let the noise inside you settle, even if only slightly. Let this be a sacred pause, not because of what you bring to it, but because of what it offers you. You don't need to speak yet. You don't need to ask yet. Just remain present. As you sit in this stillness, allow your heart to begin turning gently toward the days that have just passed, toward the moments you may have moved through without noticing, toward the week that carried you to this Sunday morning. There is time now to remember, time to look back with softer eyes, time to notice what held you, what sustained you, what quietly met you along the way. As you sit here in this quiet space, let your heart begin to turn gently backward, not with pressure, not with analysis, just with awareness. Let your mind move slowly through the past 7 days, as if you're walking through them at an unhurried pace, noticing what you may have rushed past at the time. There is no need to judge the week as good or bad. Simply let it come into view. Think about the mornings you woke up. Each one arrived in its own way. Some mornings came easily, with lightness in your chest. Others may have come with reluctance, with heaviness, with a sense of having to gather strength before getting out of bed. And yet every morning came. Breath met your lungs, your eyes opened, you were here again. That alone is something to notice. Think about the food you had this week. Meals that may have felt ordinary at the time. Something warm in your hands. Something that nourished your body enough to carry you through another day. Maybe it was simple. Maybe it was shared. Maybe it was eaten quietly. Even so, it sustained you. It met a need you could not meet on your own. Let your thoughts move to moments of rest, however brief they were. A chair you sat in, a bed you returned to at night, a pause between tasks, a moment when your body was allowed to stop, even if your mind kept moving. Rest does not have to be perfect to be real. If there was even a single moment when you could exhale, that mattered. Remember the times you traveled this week, leaving your home, returning again, roads taken, paths crossed, steps moved forward. You may not have noticed it then, but you were protected along the way. You arrived where you needed to be. You returned again. That too is something to hold with gratitude. Think of the quiet kindnesses you encountered, not the dramatic gestures, the small ones, a tone of voice that was gentle, a door held open, a message received at the right time, a look of understanding. These moments are easy to dismiss, easy to forget, but they carry weight. They remind you that care still moves through the world, often quietly. As you let these memories surface, allow yourself to hear this truth settle gently into your heart. These were not coincidences. The ordinary moments that carried you through the week were not random. What you may have overlooked was still grace. What felt routine was still provision. What seemed small was still meaningful. You did not make it through this week on your own strength alone. You were accompanied in ways that did not announce themselves. You were held in moments you did not stop to name. There was steadiness beneath the surface, even when the days felt uneven. As you sit with this awareness, let gratitude begin to rise naturally. Not forced, not performed, simply acknowledged. Gratitude does not require you to feel joyful about everything. It only asks that you notice what was given, and so much was given. There is a line from the Psalms that says, "Let the morning bring me word of your unfailing love, for I have put my trust in you." Those words don't explain anything. They don't analyze the past week. They simply echo what your heart may already be sensing now. That love met you again and again, not always loudly, but faithfully. Stay with that for a moment. Let gratitude deepen, not narrow. Let it expand beyond the obvious, beyond the things that went right. Gratitude can hold space for the hard parts too. It can exist alongside tiredness. It can exist alongside unanswered questions. It does not cancel reality. It softens it. As you look back over the week, you may remember moments that were difficult, times when you felt stretched, times when you felt unsure. Those moments do not disqualify the week from gratitude. In many ways, they make it more honest. You were sustained through them. You are here now, able to remember them, able to breathe through them. Let yourself notice how life kept moving in you, even when the days felt heavy. Your heart kept beating. Your breath kept returning. Something within you kept choosing to go on. That persistence, that quiet continuation matters. This gratitude is not meant to end here. It is meant to open something. As you hold the week behind you with gentler hands, allow your awareness to begin shifting toward a deeper truth. Not just gratitude for what happened, but gratitude for the life that allowed it all to happen at all. The life that is still here. The life that continues, moment by moment, breath by breath, into whatever comes next. As you sit with these memories, another question may quietly rise inside you. It may not come in words, but it lingers beneath the surface. Does my life still matter? After all the days I've lived, after all I've carried, after all the ways I feel slower than I used to be, less certain, less productive, still here, but wondering why. Let this Sunday morning answer that question gently, not with argument, not with urgency, simply with truth. You woke up again today. Another sunrise found you, light returned to the world and to your window, just as it has so many times before. That did not happen by accident. It was not a leftover moment or a delay. It was a deliberate gift. Your life has not been put on hold. It has not lost its meaning because your pace has changed. If you feel older now, that does not mean you are less valuable. If your steps are slower, that does not mean you are behind. If you no longer measure your days by productivity or achievement, that does not mean you have failed. It means your life is telling a different kind of story now, a deeper one. You are not loved because of what you can produce. You are not held because of what you can accomplish. Your worth does not rise and fall with your energy, your usefulness, or your output. It is rooted in something far more steady, in the simple fact that you exist, that you are here, that your breath still moves in and out of your body, that your heart continues its quiet work. If you have found yourself wondering what your purpose is now, know this. Purpose does not disappear with age. It does not fade when strength fades. It does not end when life looks different than it once did. Purpose changes shape. It deepens. It becomes less about doing and more about being, less about proving and more about presence. There is a deep delight that rests on your life right now. Not disappointment, not impatience, delight. You are seen with affection, not evaluation. You are held with tenderness, not expectation. There is no sigh of frustration hovering over you, no tally of what you should have done by now. There is only a steady, quiet joy that you are here, that you are still part of what is unfolding. Even your limitations carry meaning. Even your weaknesses speak of care. They invite gentleness where harshness once ruled. They invite rest where striving once lived. They invite connection where independence once stood alone. Nothing about your slowing disqualifies you from being deeply valued. Your life is still being written, not hurriedly, not carelessly, but with patience and intention. Every page matters, not just the early chapters. The quiet chapters count. The slower chapters count. The ones where little seems to happen on the outside often hold the deepest work within. As you breathe in this truth, allow it to settle into places that have felt unsure or forgotten. You are not an afterthought. You are not a leftover. You are not a leftover. You are not waiting for relevance to return. You are already held in it, and you are not alone in this wondering. Others sit with the same questions, the same quiet doubts, the same longing to know they still belong. As this morning continues, let your heart begin to sense that shared space, a widening circle, a gentle togetherness. There is comfort in knowing you are not the only one asking, and there is peace in discovering that the answer is still yes. As we sit together in this quiet space, I want you to know that you don't have to hold any of this alone. This moment is not meant to end the second the words fade. It's meant to open something gentle and shared. If there is a simple thank you resting on your heart right now, something small or something deep, you're welcome to let it be known. A word of gratitude, a sentence that names what carried you through the week. And if there is something you're carrying that feels heavy or tender, something you would like prayer for, but don't quite know how to say out loud, you can place that here too, quietly and honestly. This is not about being seen by many. It's about being seen at all, about knowing that others are walking similar paths, breathing through similar questions, and holding similar hopes. When you choose to return to this space, to listen again, to pray again, it isn't about following something. It's about walking together. step by step, morning by morning. Let this be a gentle reminder that you are part of a wider circle of hearts, learning to slow down, to notice, to trust. And now, before moving on, take one more easy breath. Let it settle you again. Let your attention return inward, carrying with it the quiet comfort that you are not alone as this day continues to unfold. Heavenly Father, here we are on this Sunday morning, standing quietly at the beginning of a new day. Before anything else reaches for us, before the phone lights up, before the news begins to speak, before responsibilities line up asking for our attention, we come to you, not in a rush, not with a list, just as we are, breathing, present, aware that this moment itself is a gift. We give you the first breath of this morning, the first stillness, the first turning of our hearts. Thank you for meeting us here, not as strangers, but as children who are already known. Thank you for the way this day has opened gently, without force, inviting us to begin slowly, rooted in gratitude rather than urgency. Thank you for the simple miracle of waking up, for eyes that open to light, for breath that returned to our lungs without effort, for a body that carried us through the night and brought us into this new morning. We don't take that lightly today. We don't assume it. We receive it with humility and thanks. As the quiet of this morning settles around us, we pause to acknowledge how you carried us through the week behind us, through days that felt full and days that felt long, through moments of joy and moments of quiet endurance. You were present in ways we noticed and in ways we didn't. And today, we choose to notice. Thank you for protection we didn't see coming, for strength that showed up when we didn't think we had enough, for food that nourished us, for places to rest, for small mercies that met us in ordinary hours. Thank you for the people who crossed our path, for words that steadied us, for kindness that softened our hearts. None of it was random. All of it mattered. This morning, we want to give you our attention before we give it to anything else. We don't want to rush past you or fit you into the corners of our day. We want this moment to set the tone for everything that follows. A tone of trust, a tone of gratitude, a tone of quiet awareness that you are already near. As your word says, let the morning bring me word of your unfailing love, for I have put my trust in you. And so we listen now, not for noise, not for instructions shouted over our lives, but for the steady assurance of your unfailing love. Let that love be the first voice we hear today. Let it steady us. Let it ground us. Thank you for being patient with us, for not demanding perfection or performance, for receiving us just as we arrive, with clear minds or scattered thoughts, with rested bodies or tired ones. Thank you that we don't have to impress you to be welcomed. We simply have to be present. We acknowledge you now as the center of this day, not as a task to complete, but as the one who holds all of it together. We invite your presence into the quiet and into the movement that will come later, into conversations, decisions, pauses, and transitions. We trust that you will walk with us through it all. As we sit here, we let gratitude settle deeper than words. We let it reach the places that are still tender, the places that are unsure, the places that are carrying questions we don't yet have answers for. We don't rush to fix those things. We simply bring them into your presence, knowing that being seen is already enough. This morning, we are not asking for more. We are acknowledging what already is: life, breath, another day, another chance to walk in trust, another opportunity to live gently and attentively. Thank you for that. And as this prayer continues, as the quiet of this moment opens into deeper honesty, we remain here with open hearts, ready to look inward with kindness, ready to lay down what has weighed on us, ready to move from gratitude into truth, knowing that you are not only with us in our thanks, but also in our reflection. Father, as we remain here in your presence, we come honestly, without pretending and without hiding. We come together just as we are, aware that there are things we've been carrying that feel heavier than we expected. We don't come to explain ourselves. We don't come to justify our fears. We simply come, knowing that you are a place of refuge, not a place of judgment. We admit that worry has followed us through this past week. Sometimes quietly, sometimes loudly. We worried about things we could not control, about conversations that haven't happened yet, about outcomes we don't know how to shape, about the future and what it may ask of us. Even when we tried to stay calm, our minds kept circling back to the same concerns, rehearsing them again and again. We confess that there are moments when we try to take control instead of trusting, when we feel responsible for holding everything together, when we believe, even if only for a moment, that it all depends on us, that if we loosen our grip, something will fall apart. And so we hold tighter. Even when our hands are tired and our hearts feel strained, we acknowledge the doubt that slips in quietly. Doubt about ourselves, doubt about timing, doubt about whether things will truly be okay. We don't always say it out loud, but it lives beneath the surface, shaping our thoughts and stealing our rest. And alongside it comes the mental noise, the constant hum of what-ifs, should-haves, and unfinished thoughts that refuse to be quiet. We bring all of this to you now, not with shame, but with honesty, because you are not surprised by what we carry. You see it clearly, and you do not turn away. You do not meet us with disappointment or impatience. You meet us with mercy, with open hands, with a steady presence that says we are safe to lay these things down. Your word reminds us that we are not meant to hold anxiety alone. It tells us that we don't have to carry every concern in silence, but that in every situation we are invited to bring what weighs on us into your presence with prayer and gratitude. And it speaks of a peace that follows, a peace that stands guard over our hearts and minds, not because we forced ourselves to be calm, but because we allowed ourselves to trust. So here we are, doing just that. We are placing our worries before you, one by one, without rushing. We are loosening our grip on control, even if it feels unfamiliar. We are admitting where our faith has felt small and where our thoughts have felt loud. And instead of judging ourselves for it, we are choosing to receive what you offer in return. We gently set down the burdens we've been carrying, not throwing them away, not denying they mattered, simply placing them into hands stronger and kinder than our own. We don't need to know how everything will work out to rest here. We don't need immediate answers to receive peace. Let that peace come quietly now, not as a sudden rush, but as a settling, like a deep breath that reaches places we didn't realize were tense, like a stillness that slowly replaces the noise. Let it guard our thoughts, not by force, but by presence. Let it steady our hearts, reminding us that we are held. As we breathe in and out, we receive this peace as a gift, not a reward. We allow it to cover us gently, to sit with us, to remain with us as we continue this day. And we trust that even when our thoughts try to wander back to worry, this peace will still be near, ready to meet us again. As this new week begins to open before us, we ask for something gentle and steady, not answers that arrive with noise or urgency, not clarity that demands certainty all at once. We ask instead for quiet wisdom, the kind that does not rush us, the kind that settles into our hearts and guides us one step at a time. There is so much noise that surrounds us, voices offering opinions, screens demanding attention, thoughts competing for space in our minds. It can be hard to know which voice to follow, which direction to trust. In the middle of all that sound, we confess that we often react before we reflect. We speak before we listen. We move before we pause. And later, we wish we had slowed down. So today we ask for the grace of stillness, not silence for its own sake, but a stillness that makes room for discernment. Help us notice the difference between reacting and responding, between filling space with words and choosing when to remain quiet. Teach us that wisdom is often found not in doing more, but in paying closer attention. We pray for restraint in moments when emotions rise quickly, when irritation appears without warning, when we feel tempted to defend ourselves, correct others, or rush to be understood. Give us the strength to pause instead, to breathe, to let the moment pass through your presence before it passes through our mouths. We ask for patience, especially in places where we feel stretched thin, in conversations that test us, in waiting that feels uncomfortable, in processes that move slower than we would like. Help us remember that patience is not weakness. It is a form of trust, a quiet confidence that not everything needs to be forced. Shape our hearts toward kindness in the small interactions of this week, the ones that feel insignificant at the time. A tone of voice, a response to a question, a moment when we could choose gentleness instead of sharpness. Let kindness become our default, not because it is easy, but because it reflects the wisdom we long to walk in. Teach us to listen before we speak, to hear not just words, but the heart beneath them, to notice what is being said and what is being carried silently. Slow our responses so that they are shaped by understanding rather than assumption. Let our listening be an act of care. As we step into the days ahead, we remember the truth that guides us, to trust with our whole heart and not lean solely on our own understanding, to acknowledge you in all our ways, believing that you will make our path clear. We don't need to see the entire road to take the next step. We don't need to know every outcome to walk forward faithfully. Let this wisdom accompany us quietly through the week, in decisions both small and significant, in moments when we feel unsure, in choices that shape our days more than we realize. We trust that as we lean into stillness rather than noise, discernment rather than reaction, you will guide us gently, faithfully, and well. As we continue in this quiet place, we bring our bodies into the awareness of this prayer, not as something separate from our faith, but as part of the life we've been given. These bodies have carried us through years of mornings and nights, through seasons of strength and seasons of weariness. They tell the story of where we've been, and they are not an inconvenience. They are not a disappointment. They are worthy of gentleness. We acknowledge that bodies change. They slow down. They ache in places that once felt effortless. Energy comes and goes. What used to feel simple may now require intention, and yet none of this diminishes our worth. Not one bit. Our value has never been measured by speed or stamina. It has never depended on how much we could do or how quickly we could do it. There is patience here, a deep, steady patience that does not rush us or grow frustrated with our limitations. A patience that understands the rhythm of aging and honors the wisdom that comes with it. We are not behind because our pace has changed. We are not failing because our bodies need more care. We are learning a different way of being present. If there is frustration you felt toward your own body, let it be acknowledged without judgment. If there is grief for what your body no longer does, the way it once did, let that be held gently. You are not weak for noticing these things. You are honest, and honesty is a form of courage. Purpose has not left you. It has simply shifted its shape. It lives now in presence, in attentiveness, in the way you notice what others rush past. It lives in the way you listen, the way you rest, the way you move through the day with care. There is meaning in slowness. There is dignity in limitation. There is beauty in a life that no longer needs to prove itself. We do not ask for quick fixes or dramatic change. We do not place pressure on this moment to be anything other than what it is. We receive our bodies as they are today, with gratitude for what they still allow us to experience, with respect for what they have endured, with compassion for what they need now. Let this be a moment of kindness toward yourself, toward the body that carried you through the week behind you, toward the breath that continues to return, toward the heart that keeps beating faithfully without being asked. As we hold this awareness, let gratitude begin to take on a deeper shape. Not just gratitude for what feels good, but gratitude for what is real. Gratitude that becomes a quiet discipline, a way of seeing, a choice to honor the life we are living, exactly as it is, and to carry that honoring forward into the rest of this day. As we sit with all of this, it becomes clear that gratitude is not always something we feel easily. Some mornings it rises naturally, light and warm. Other mornings it feels distant, almost out of reach. And yet, gratitude is not only an emotion that visits us when circumstances are kind. It is also a choice we return to, gently and faithfully, even when our feelings lag behind. There are days when our hearts feel full and gratitude flows without effort. But there are also days when tiredness dulls our awareness, when disappointment lingers, when the week has taken more than it has given. On those days, gratitude does not mean pretending everything is fine. It means choosing to notice what is still true, choosing to acknowledge life, breath, presence, even when joy feels faint. Gratitude, in this way, becomes a quiet act of trust, a way of saying that life is still being held, even when we don't fully understand how. It is not loud, it is not performative, it does not demand energy we don't have. It simply asks us to turn our attention, again and again, toward what has been given. There is a wisdom in this kind of gratitude. It grounds us, it steadies us. It reminds us that thankfulness is not reserved for perfect days. It belongs to ordinary ones too, to days marked by routine, to days shaped by waiting, to days that feel incomplete. Gratitude does not deny the weight of those days. It walks alongside them. The words come to mind that encourage us to give thanks in all circumstances, not because every circumstance is easy, but because this posture keeps our hearts anchored, not pressured, not forced. Anchored, gratitude becomes a way of remaining connected, even when emotions shift and fluctuate. So today we choose gratitude gently, not as a demand placed on ourselves, but as a practice that keeps us present. A way of honoring life as it is, not as we wish it to be. We give thanks quietly, faithfully, trusting that even this choice, made without fanfare, carries meaning and opens our hearts to what is still unfolding. As this prayer widens, we lift our eyes beyond ourselves and begin to hold others with care. We think of children and grandchildren, the ones growing into their days with questions, hopes, and quiet fears they may not yet know how to name. We ask for gentleness around them, for protection over their steps, for voices of wisdom to meet them when choices feel heavy. May they be guided with patience and surrounded by love that steadies them. We remember the elderly and the lonely, those whose days feel long and whose nights can feel especially quiet. For those whose bodies ache or whose memories feel fragile, let there be comfort that does not rush them and companionship that does not overwhelm. May they feel seen, valued, and held with tenderness. We bring before you the sick, the grieving, and the overwhelmed, those waiting for answers, those carrying loss, those waking up each day feeling like their strength is running thin. Meet them with presence rather than explanations, with peace that rests beside them, even when nothing else changes yet. We also remember those we do not know by name, the unseen, the forgotten, the ones whose pain never reaches our awareness. Teach us to share in one another's joys and sorrows, to rejoice with those who rejoice, and to weep with those who weep. Let empathy guide our prayers and compassion shape our hearts, knowing we are bound together by shared humanity and care. You are with us in errands and simple tasks, in meals prepared and meals shared, in waiting rooms and slow lines, in the pauses between one responsibility and the next. Help us notice you there, not rushing past your presence in the name of productivity, but choosing awareness over achievement. Let joy rise not from how much we accomplish, but from knowing you are near, guiding us in the path of life, filling our moments with meaning simply because you walk with us. As the hours move forward and the light of this day begins to soften, we imagine its end with peace. We release the need to finish everything perfectly. We entrust you with the tasks left undone, the conversations that didn't happen, the plans that shifted. We choose not to carry tomorrow into tonight. Each day has its own portion, its own grace. Let our hearts rest, knowing that what remains unfinished can safely wait in your care. And as we come to the close of this prayer, let these truths settle gently into our hearts. You are held. You are not late. Your life is not behind. God is still writing your story with patience and love. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing has been forgotten. May you move into the rest of this day and into the night ahead with quiet confidence and deep assurance, wrapped in peace that does not rush or fade.